and parents of LGBTQ kids. Do they have parental rights?
Every parent, Joy. Every parent means every parent has the fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children.
And liberal parents? Do liberal parents have those rights as well?
All parents, sure.
So let me point you to some statistics. Because the question becomes then who gets to decide what all kids get to read?
Parents.
The Washington Post took a look at about 1,000+ book challenges that were filed, and they found that they were filed nationwide by just 11 people. Each of these people brought 10 or more challenges against books in their school district. Together, these serial filers constituted 6% of all book challengers, but they were responsible for 60% of filings in Florida.
Good
Tampa
for
Bay
them.
Times, they found that of roughly 1,100 complaints recorded in Florida since July 2022. We're talking about more than 700 just from two counties, Escambia in the Western Panhandle and Clay County. Together, those are less than 3% of the public school enrollment, 600 of those complaints, 2 people. Why should 13 people get to decide what books tens of thousands of children get to read?
Well, I'm thinking it's probably because those 13 people saw what some of the content was in the books. I mean, explicit, graphic, sexual content. And I'm happy to talk about some of that content if you'd like to.
Well, this is the question again. The books that are being banned, I want to give you just some...
Books are being banned.
No, hold on a second.
That lady from Moms for Liberty should have gone right into it right then and there, folks. She should have gone. She shouldn't ask Joy's permission. She should have just started rattling off all the sexual stuff that was in those books immediately. I think it was a mistake on her part.
Well, no, Joy, but I want to be clear. No one's banning books. Write the book, print the book, publish the book, put the book in the public library, sell the book, right? We're talking about a public school library. Children don't have unfettered access to the internet at school.
Exactly.
I did a FOIA records request, and I wanted to see what kinds of internet sites are banned in schools, if we're going to talk about banning, right? And the subject matter in the books that moms are concerned about are the same things that kids don't have access to on the internet. So it just feels very hypocritical.
Yes.
Why is no one out there protesting for, free the internet in schools?
Let me give you an example of some of the...
Why don't you answer that question, Joy? You race hater, you race baiter, you freaking race traitor. And by the way, what is this with the Donald Trump hairstyle and haircut and color? What are you secretly, oh, I know right now, Joy. Joyless Reid. Joyless Reid, I read you there, Mama. I read you there, Joy. Joyless. You secretly like Donald Trump. We'll keep it a secret between ourselves, Joyless.
The books that have been removed from shelves as a result of the activities of organizations like Moms for Liberty.
We're not going to talk like Moms for Liberty. We're going to talk specifically Moms for Liberty.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy to have this conversation with you, Joy.
Absolutely.
But we're going to be specific about the actions of Moms for Liberty chapters.
100%.
Because I can't be possibly responsible for every single parent in America.
But your organization is the...
Way to go, Ma. Way to go there. Put Joy back in her place. Don't bring anything else inside there. Don't bring any ancillary, clubs or other organizations out there. Just specifically, I'll address Moms for Liberty, Joyless Reid.
You're the leading organization that's doing this. You have chapters all over the country, and other organizations are following your lead. And PEN America has they have posted the list of books that have been removed from shelves as a result of these activities. Let me just read you a couple of them. Anne Frank's A Diary of a Young Girl. Mouse, which is a book about the Holocaust, a graphic novel. Genderqueer, a memoir. All Boys Aren't Blue. Beloved, Martin Luther King Jr. and the March on Washington. Ruby Bridges Goes to School. Slaughterhouse-Five, The Color Purple, Forever by Judy Blume. I could go on. These are books that are not only popular, in some cases are classics. Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. Let me give you an example.
Well, I'd like to answer your question.
Please do, yeah.
Yeah, so you just mentioned a list of books. And so Moms for Liberty doesn't have like a national book list. There was never a list of books that we put out and said, parents, be concerned about these books, right? We didn't do it because we want our parents to be effective advocates. So when moms are going into the libraries in the schools, when they're seeing what their children have access to, when they go to speak to the superintendent or the principal, they have accurate information, right? They're
where are they
advocates.
getting their information from?
You can just go online to a catalog in your children's library, and you can see what
without reading.
They can read, you joyless idiot. You are such a simmer. The acronym I've coined, I dub Joyless Reid. Simmer, SIMR. Stupid, idiotic, moronic, and retarded. Not to mention homophobic as well. Anyways, let's continue with Joyless Reid.
Books. What is what is one moment? What is booklooks.com?
I'm aware of a website called booklooks.com where parents can go and see some of the books that other parents are concerned about.
Booklooks.com has been used in Florida extensively in counties like
Good for them.
Okay.
In counties like Broward, counties like Clay, counties like Escambia, Moms for Liberty activists are using booklooks.com. And it's essentially a cliff notes for books.
Yeah.
So you go through without even having to read the book. I'm going to just hold it up so our audience can see what it looks like. This is the one for All Boys Aren't Blue, which is one of the books Moms for Liberty has pushed.
Everyone should go and see the content in this book. That's such a good idea.
And so what happens is you can do keyword searches and find certain keywords.
Like rape.
You can find keywords.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or anal rape.
Anal rape.
You can find all
dildo,
sorts of words.
penis, vagina.
Okay, then you can answer. I'm going to give you time to answer, but I got to ask you first.
I gotta ask you first.
N-word, anything, words like you just used. Then you'll get out of context passages from the book, and then based on that, Moms for Liberty members are going to places like Broward County School Board meetings, reading out of
context. If I see rape, I can certainly take that out of context. Oh, penis. Oh, I can take that out of context. Dildo. I can take that out of context. Anal. I can take that out of context. Rectum. I can take that out of context. Surely you can take those words. They all mean good things. Right, Joyless Reid?
out of context passages from these books and then demanding that the school board remove them.
So what's
that is the way.
Yeah.
The question
what's your question?
Is, what is the expertise that you have and other moms?
She's a mom. She's a parent.
To decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read. What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. So you have incest, rape, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so I'm going to answer
Please
for you.
do.
In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school?
Yeah, Joyless.
I mean, that's my question to you. Tell me what the context
she won't answer.
around the strap-on dildo or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No,
wait,
we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
So I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Aren't Blue?
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on. Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe, is his first name.
See what Joyless Reid is trying to do here? This stupid, idiotic, moronic retard, race hater, race baiter, race traitor, this black biatch. That's what she's trying to do over here. She's trying to basically let this mom know here that, I mean, she's trying to basically say, oh, you're some kind of expert. Can you tell me, can you remember what page the word dildo came in? And what paragraph? And, what was the word after that? And what was the name of the person that used it? And who was it used on? I mean, it doesn't. This is the type of idiotic, stupid, moronic debating tactic that they try to utilize. Oh, you're the expert? Oh, you can't. Oh, you don't remember the name of the book? Oh, you don't remember the name of the author? Oh, you don't remember the name of the character? Oh, you don't remember? Oh, then you know what? Everything that you said must absolutely be stupid, must absolutely be not true, because you have no idea what I'm talking about. You know, you claim to be the expert, but you can't figure out, you don't know anything about anything. And it's like, it has nothing to do with the question. Even if she'd forgotten about what was in the book is there. She can pick it out. She can look at it online. She can say, here's the page number. Here's what it says.
because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You
the
just
name of the
remembered
author
very
doesn't.
specific things.
Joy.
Here's my question.
We're talking about
Here's my
abstract.
question.
You didn't answer my question.
No. I'm going to answer your
Great.
question.
I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you and you're not interviewing me. So let's just make sure it's a conversation, okay?
Okay, great.
So what I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert in this book.
I don't have to be an expert.
She just said, I'm the interviewer. It's my show that had 5 people watch. It's my show. I'm the black lady here, okay? You're the white lady. Settle down, okay? I'll answer the questions. Tiffany should have pressed forward and said, listen, I've asked you 3 times, Joyless, to answer the question about anal, about dildos, about pedophilia, about incest. I've asked you to answer those questions, and you don't. You say, you will, but you won't. You know why? Because you're a race hater, race baiter, race traitor, and you don't mind if children are sexually abused because it's part of your party's dogma. It's part of your mantra. You folks don't give a damn if kids get physically or sexually assaulted or sexually abused. You could care freaking less. That's the whole idea of this, right, Joyless? That's exactly where I would have pushed back hard on that.
No, dildos aren't appropriate for public school. I mean, come on, let's get real.
This is a full context story, as you said, of the author's experience. Why is it
of
your
being
right,
raped?
or Moms for Liberty activists' right, to say that a parent who wants their child to have access to this book, which gives a personal experience of this author, that they...
Listen, you stupid, idiotic, moronic, retard, black lady, Joyless Reid. Tell me which parent in America would want their kids to read a book that talked about being sodomized, that talked about incest, that talked about pedophilia, talked about anal sex? Why on earth would any parent want their child to read that, especially if they're in kindergarten or in elementary school or middle school? Why? That's what I'd like to know. Give me the answer to that, Joyless.
Why doesn't a liberal parent, for instance, or a parent of an LGBTQ kid, why don't they have a right for their child to just have access to this book? Why is it your right to say they can't?
So, again, we're talking about incest, rape, and pedophilia.
And each parent, each parent has to decide what is appropriate for their child to read. So I want you to answer. I'm going to ask it one more time. What is your right to tell a parent who wants their child, who might feel seen by this story, why don't they have the right? Why don't they have the right as a parent to say, my child can have access to this book?
If a child feels seen by this story, that means that they have been the victim of a predator.
Yes.
That means that they have either been raped by a family member, they've experienced
and your proof of that is what?
You just said that
What's
if a
your
child
proof of
feels
that?
seen
You
by
just
this
said
story,
it.
So what I'm saying, Joy,
you're now making assumptions about it.
Joy, but if a child has been raped, we should do a lot better than put a book on a library
Now you're literally
shelf.
creating a story behind a child that you don't know. Let me show you a form. This is a form that can be obtained in Broward County, Florida. Okay. I'm going to show it to the audience, and then I'm going to show it to you. This is called the opt. Yeah, please. I'm going to hand it to you. So much. It's called the opt-out form.
Okay.
An opt-out form would allow any parent, because you said you are in favor of parental rights.
I am.
It would allow any parent to opt out of their child being able to take books out of the library without their parents' permission.
Okay.
So that Moms for Liberty,
yeah,
why not advocate that every school in America have an opt-out form so that a parent who doesn't want their child to access a book like All Boys Aren't Blue, that they can make that choice, because then each parent, including a liberal parent, a black parent, a parent who wants their child to read a book about African-American history, then they get their rights.
We want children to read books about
Why not just
African-American
opt
history,
out for yourself rather than tell other parents what they can and cannot?
First of all, I think what you're talking about here is a wonderful step in the right direction. We should be having conversations about this. This is about local control. A lot of these decisions are made at the local school board level, and that's where these decisions should be made. And there should be vibrant conversations about what's happening in our public schools and what kids have access to. Joy, however, maybe we could just put all the books with all the graphic sexual content.
Yes.
The rape, the incest.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Let's do a back room. Let's put a curtain up in the library like they used to do.
One moment.
Remember when we were little and you would go to the video store?
The books that Moms for Liberty.
The books that Moms for Liberty. With pornography behind
I know
the
that you.
curtain.
I've seen.
We could just do that in
I
the
have
public
seen
library.
tapes of
Does
what
that
Moms for
sound
Liberty does,
appropriate?
and you all go into school board meetings and you read graphic stuff.
This is a disingenuous conversation.
No, it's not.
There's America used to understand that there's something called age-appropriate content.
Right, and here's my
We have
question again.
ratings on movies.
Again. Ruby Bridges Goes to School is on the list of books that Moms for Liberty has attempted to have removed.
Absolutely not.
It absolutely is. Let me ask about the people who are making the decision for their parents, because you have not answered yet why a liberal parent or an African-American parent
We
can't
have
say
parents who are Democrats who are members of our organization.
But you're still...
You haven't answered the question, Joyless. She's asked you 3 or 4 times that what do you do? Are you fine with sexually graphic, pornographic material under the age of 18, under the age of 13? Where's the age in which you think it's perfectly fine for any child to read anything at all? We have age limits on alcohol. We have age limits on we did on cigarettes. We have age limits on smoking weed. We have age limits on drinking. We have age limits on liquor, on beer. We have age limits on movies. We have age limits on games. We have age limits on everything. And yet, it's okay to, according to Joy Reid, race traitor, race baiter, race hater, who has the Donald Trump haircut that she simply adores, and she's a secret backer of Donald Trump. She won't tell that to her people out there because obviously, okay, her show will be over, but that's obviously a form of flattery that she's she's a Donald Trump supporter, folks. But then she comes out with stuff like this because she has to sort of sway her audience to let her know, I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting to have pornographic books be put in the library so a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old can read those pornographic books. But I've got the haircut. Don't worry. You know what? We don't need you backing Donald Trump, Joyless. We don't want you backing Joyless. We don't want you backing Donald Trump, Joyless. Just stay away from us, Joyless. Please stay away from us and continue your homophobic rants that you basically, somebody hacked your account. Somebody hacked my account. Put those homophobic slurs in there. I don't know how that happened. That's what Joyless wants us to believe. Amazing. Anyways, let's continue.
Still trying to make decisions for all the kids. Here are some of the parents that are filing, or some of your advocates. Mm-hmm. Bridget Ziegler, the Moms for Liberty co-founder, the wife of the recently ousted Florida Republican Party chairman, Christian Ziegler, who allegedly was involved in same-sex threesomes. Mrs. Ziegler was removed from the school board at which she was a leader. You've had
she wasn't removed from the school board.
Okay, you have Lauren DePaula. She was making book ban requests in Alachua County, but then records show that she and her husband didn't live there. They'd sold their home in that county. Carrie Blair in Tennessee, who was arrested for property theft charges after allegedly stealing from Target, skip scanning in Target. Why should those 3 people get to make decisions about what other children should be able to read? Other parents' children should be able to read.
Do you know that I served as a school board member from 2016 to 2020?
Are you going to answer my question?
Yeah, I'm
because
going
we don't
to.
have an endless time.
Joy, I'm going to answer your question, but I need you to understand that when I was an elected representative, I would sit on that dais, and how dare I, sitting there as an elected representative, judge a parent when they would come to the podium to speak and advocate for their child? Because as we started this conversation, we'll end it. Every parent has a fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children. And I would not stand in judgment, Joy, about a parent's education level, their sexual orientation, their race, their religion. That is not what America is about.
I'm going to answer. I'm going to ask.
You're not going to ask. No, you're not going to ask, Joyless. Come on, Joyless.
If a parent believes that their child should be able to read Ruby Bridges,
we believe that parents.
That was so rich of Joyless, right? Joyless was so rich. She's actually saying, how come this guy who had a threesome? I thought, Joyless, your party loves all the kind of sexual innuendos and the sexual gratuity and all that kind of stuff. Now you're attacking. You should be out there, okay, doing genuflections to that guy, to that husband who was in a threesome of the lady who was, part of Moms for Liberty. Okay, that's not her fault. Her husband decided to have, I don't know what it was. But even if it was, so what? What does that have to do with them or not reading a book? But I thought you should be all behind that. You should be in favor of all of that. Selective hypocrisy is unbelievable from this race hater, race traitor, race baiter, Joyless Reid.
That children should be able to read.
Then how can Moms
American
for Liberty
hero.
insist that the school board take that book away and then say that a parent who wants the child to be able to read it must purchase it? That's essentially putting a tax on parents who want their children to read the book. Your kids get to have books for free that you
Books
agree
for
with,
free.
but children who want to read, or parents who want their children to read books you don't like, have to purchase it. That doesn't sound
Joy,
fair.
did you know that in the city that we're sitting in, only a quarter of children are reading on grade level?
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And so while we're having this conversation about books in libraries, two things should be happening.
That's a great point.
We should be talking about literacy rates and the fact that America's kids are not learning how to read, and we should be having vibrant conversations about what books should be in libraries.
Absolutely.
Wow, wow, wow. I enjoyed that episode. I really, really did. Because when you hear these people on MSLSD, the delusional network, and people like, the only reason that Joyless Reid has a show is because she's black. Period. End of story. She is a race hustler, a race traitor, a race hater, and a race baiter. She is one of the most evil, vile, disgusting human beings. She happens to be black. But all of a sudden now she wants to sport a blonde do. And I think the reason is because she realizes she wants to be on the winning team, but she just can't come out of the closet and say that she's part of the Donald J. Trump team. And you know what? I don't want her on the Donald J. Trump team. I don't want her anywhere near it. I want her to stay on the other side. The side that says it's okay for kids to be sexualized. It's okay for kids to be sexually assaulted. It's okay for pedophilia to occur. Incest is perfectly fine according to Joyless Reid. Those are exactly the dogmas that she holds dear, that the Democratic Party holds dear. They don't care about kids. They don't care about kids in pornography. They don't care about kids in incestuous relationships. They don't care about kids, reading textbooks that are graphically depicting sexual situations, sexual innuendos. They don't care about that. They want to continually foist sexualization on our children. And I'm not talking about on 20-year-olds or people in college. We're talking about from pre-K, kindergarten, elementary, middle school, junior high school, and high school. Joyless Reid is perfectly fine with that, as is the Democratic Party and the liberals and the leftists and all the acolytes that are part of the mainstream media. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow. You all know what to do. Put your comments down below as well. Share those. Take a look at our other video links above and below. I'll leave with my final thought, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.